What's up? Hello. It's been a long day today, so we're gonna write some music. Keep it nice and easy. Nothing too fancy happening right now. It's just you, me, my keyboard, and MuseScore. Which means I'm ready to start getting to work. I just had some food, so yeah. I'm gonna have all sorts of coughing today. And some unsweet tea. It's delicious. If you're tired, go to sleep. No. That's my very intelligent response to that. Me and my friend Anna were talking about improv games that we could play soon. Excuse me, I'm muting my coughs. Because, for a while now, I think I've talked about this a ton, but for a while now I've wanted to have like an improv show or just some sort of recurring funny video kind of thing that I can do. But unfortunately our schedules don't line up. And I'm half tempted to just do it all on my own because I'm the only one that I can really trust when it comes to my schedule. Because I know when I'm free. And it's always when I am free. I'm always free at the same time that I'm free. And therefore, if I need to record a video with me, then I know when I'm free. And when I want to record a video with me, when I'm free, which I know when I'm free, so then I can be with me. So I'm thinking that maybe I should just do a one-man show kind of thing. But I need like prompts. I don't really know where to get them. So we'll figure that out. But for now, it's just normal music stuff. Unfortunately, the boring kind of stuff, music, bleh, gross. I can't imagine doing this as my hobby. What a terrible hobby. I'll get to work here in a second. I'm currently trying not to cough up my lungs while I'm talking to you. And believe me, I am sleepy. But I gotta get back into the swing of doing the whole streaming thing. I didn't do that for a while. And I didn't miss yesterday. But I went a bit too long yesterday. I was getting real tired by the end of it. So I didn't get enough sleep. That's fine. That's fine. It was so worth it, right? So, in the last video I recorded, I discovered this that I wrote a while ago, a couple of months ago. In fact, when did I write it? September 29, 2025. So, this is an old project I rediscovered. So, I'll be, just as a little warm-up, I'll be editing this. I don't know about adding to it, but I at least want to edit it so that it's in a state that I like a bit more. And so let's listen to it first. It's a little quiet. So I'm going to turn the volume up. I promise it's not loud. It's mostly pianissimos. But I'll play it and then I'll discuss what I want to change about it. I think the flute here goes a little too long. It should change or take a breath or something to make it feel more natural. I want that harmony maybe to be a bit more fluffy instead of smooth. A bit less square. Brass here perhaps. Bigger crescendo. Tremolo maybe. Bit more bass. Needs more bass here. Something a bit more sustaining, perhaps. I want more high end in this chord. Okay. So those are the things that immediately jumped out to me after that. And also it's really quiet. I had to turn up the volume a bunch in order to hear that. So we're gonna try and fixing that. I think the celesta part's okay. A bit boring, but that's okay. So I'm thinking maybe here the flute needs to trade blows with a clarinet or something. I want to at least change where this harmony goes. So perhaps in the alto flutes, make them a bit louder too because everything's so quiet. Let's put you in alto flutes and clarinets. I think I need a little bit more movement in that harmony. What emotion could this possibly convey? I don't know. Why are you asking me what emotion my music conveys? You think I would know that? That doesn't make any sense. Why is the piano down here? The piano should go in here because it's a two-staff instrument. Okay, there you go. Perhaps try this bit in the piccolo. That's the same register as the glockenspiel. What if I raise everyone by an octave? I'm not really feeling that. I like the lower better. I kind of like the piccolo up here at least. I think a normal flute should be able to play this. Rest here, please. And I'm thinking here, let's move you down an octave and maybe put you in an oboe. What an oboe note. I think, let's move you guys back to bassoons. I will put you on the B-flat clarinet. This is more of an E-flat clarinet kind of note. I could move you down another octave, but I'm a little skeptical of that. I'll put you in piano and see what that sounds like. No, that sounds terrible and I hate it. And I'm not sure. That's what I get for writing such high notes. I really enjoyed the oboe here. I think maybe it's just gotta start changing instruments when it gets too high. Could be higher. You're right, it could be higher. Hold on. sounds won't even go that high. That's terrible. I think there's got to be a bit more fullness here. The bassoon doesn't really say fullness to me. I have 2 alto flutes. Instead of flutes, I could go for 2 bassoons and 2 very quiet trombones. Although that's a bit higher for trombone, but it doesn't really have the effect that I was thinking of. It would probably sound much better a bit lower. Yeah, and back in flutes you go, I guess. Okay, I think there's got to be more dynamics. It's mostly the same dynamic the entire time. What software is this? This is MuseScore 4, the 4th one. How do I instill more fullness in this? Why do I have women in my orchestra? Who allowed you to be here? Okay. Okay. I don't think... There needs to be like some kind of roll or something. There needs to be maybe like a snare drum or... I think I need a snare drum. Let me get a snare drum. Snare drum. I have so many instruments here that I ain't using. Woman, my favorite instrument. What a great instrument she is. What did I just add? A snare drum, that's right. I added a snare drum because I'm thinking in this next part I need something a bit like... rattly is not really the right word. Something a bit coarse. If you know what I'm saying. So I need like a kind of a coarse sounding instrument. So especially for this part here, I'm going to have some crescendos and decrescendos. I want you to be a bit louder. I'm thinking here I need also this. I also want there to be some tremolo happening. And let me add that whatchamacallit snare drum part, which is right here. Not as far as the things, but let's have, or not pianista, let's do piano, that's a piano, and let's just, I guess I'll just do this. Let's just feel how this sounds. I guess I'll start from the beginning. Okay, that's a bit loud. That's okay. I would like a triangle here. Okay. I also would like a little bit of tremolo. What notes are playing here? A sharp, C sharp, E, G sharp. I guess I'll just call this an A sharp diminished chord. What are you, viola? Let's have what? E and A sharp. I don't know, that feels a bit too high. Let's have A sharp here and C sharp there. Yeah, and then I want you to have like a pizzicato, like a nice loud pizz. A tritone pizz, but a pizzicato nonetheless. Let me mark you as pizzicato. Give you an abbreviation. Make you a bit loud because you are pizz. And I will also add the tremolos as I was saying earlier. I don't know what chords these are. What are you, C? Which one of you is C? Bang, expert composing. And then, what is this? A sharp. Bang, easy. I'm so good at this. Violin fingering gonna go crazy. What could go wrong? Let me have all of you as tremolos. That's too many lines. Okay. Price of software, it says free on the site, but I don't know if it's cap. No, it's MuseScore 4 and it is free. That's why I use it. I think the pizza's got to be louder, given that it's a pizzicato. I think I'll feel better about that. I also think there should be like a horn swell here. Oh, what the heck? Can you do this for 3 beats instead of 2? I also... oh, whoopsies. I also want this to be a bit louder, please. Horns or trombones here. Need to come in. You as well, and I guess just for maybe like... you guys also move to mezzo forte? I like that a bit more. Let's get rid of these since you guys are already moving up to mezzo forte. I think here I also want, right, the brass. The brass needs to come in a little bit. It's not dramatic enough. Let's try this. I think there's gonna be, I hope this doesn't sound too esoteric, and I'll explain kind of my thought process behind this. I need this beat right here on this measure. The first beat needs to be percussive, and then the sound needs to trail off. So a tiny bit of a sharp brass hit, and then slowly fall down. Still brassy, but like a bit softer. So the way I'm going to achieve this is definitely horns. I think we're going to have the trombones play the nice legato notes, and then I want the horns to kind of punctuate a little bit. So let's do that. And brass is very nice in close harmony. So I'm going to be a very creative and good composer, and also just steal from the woodwinds. So what is that? E and C sharp. Beautiful. Which one of you is trombones? These guys. So E, C sharp, mezzo piano, yeah, mezzo piano. I'll just take these, yoink, easy peasy. Piano here, and then this chord is an A sharp diminished chord, which is a lot of notes. Let's have E in the bass, why not? Try this. I'm not sure if I heard this enough. Maybe it needs to be just a tiny bit louder. I'm afraid of doing that though. In fact, let's move all of you guys up a dynamic marking. I think that would just make it more dramatic, which is what I want. Hold on, fall on the beat just before this. Instead of horn, I want trumpet. Try trumpet instead. I only have 2 trumpets, but that's fine. Let's just play the top 2 notes, which are these 2. Trumpets are a little loud, so I'm a little hesitant to see what happens there. Let's move these guys onto this. Okay, I didn't hear you guys at all. Play. You guys can go a little higher. Let's move you up to C sharp. Let's move you up to A sharp. I also think the horn is just too similar to these guys, so I think I'll move you back to trombone. Trombone is more distinct. Let's see, it's too high. Okay. And back down to E you go. I guess I have literally the rest of the orchestra to be using, but whatever. Be able to compose music, that's good. How'd you learn composing music? Thank you for the kind words, but the way I learned is that I went to the library and I read books on how to write music. They have books on that there. I have homework. Should I sleep or do my homework? It depends on when the homework is due. If it's not due yet, you can go to sleep. But make sure you do your homework when you're awake and not when you're half asleep. Because when you're half asleep is when you're tired and angry and you're never going to get any answer right. You got to do the homework when you're a bit more energetic, and because you might think that like, oh, I'm sleepy, I'll be more receptive to doing homework, but at least in my case, it's absolutely not true. When I'm tired, that's like the last thing I want to do. I'm so irritable. I'm not liking this. Let's have you... We'll have the not the trombones. Have the trumpets play the tritone. You're not a tritone. No, you are. And I will have the horns play a third. And try this, please, my dears. Maybe less horns. 2 horns, not 4. Better, I think. Let me hear this again. Just a tiny bit louder, please. I feel like this might be too loud. I feel like there's got to be something in between those notes. Bum 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 bum, something like that. I just don't know where it would go. Probably on the harp. Right, harp. Show me what you're made of. What are these chords? I don't know what they are because I didn't mark down names for them. They're probably just some chromatic movement here. Let me see. There's E. It's E minor. Let me guess, this is F minor. Well, I'm so creative. And let me guess, is this G minor? No, it's G major. What's this? A flat major? Yep. What's that? B diminished? Nope, it's B minor. I forgot about the F sharp. And that's what? A sharp diminished. That's right. So many names that may or may not mean absolutely nothing to you. I promise it made sense to me, though. That's right. So you're what do you call it? E minor? I don't want you to be too low. Can you just do it? You gotta a bit higher, perhaps. What kind of song you're trying to make? This is my warm-up. This is a project that I wrote a few months ago and then completely forgot about, and as I was just kind of scrolling through random projects on my computer, I came across this one and I'm like, wow, this one, I could probably do something with this. So this one's my warm-up for today. Then I'll get to my main project later, but just doing this as a start. Mostly because I'm a little tired right now, so Not super wristed. This is probably easier to read on the treble clef. There you go. Boink. Also, I like treble clef more. Was that G major? I remember. G major. I guess I could have these parallel fourths. I don't... Oh, I also realized that, well... Oh, because the harp isn't a chromatic instrument, right? So I don't know if it'll... I mean, it shouldn't struggle to play notes like these. This G does become a G sharp. I guess that can be avoided. It's at such low volume that I don't think any sympathetic resonance, big word I just dropped there, it shouldn't mean anything, in theory. I could change you to a piano. That would be, a piano is a bit more reliable, but the harp just has its own special sound that is also good. Okay, let's keep you on the harp for a sec. I also forgot that I should probably have a harp diagram. Doink. Look at all those red notes. The impossible notes. You're A flat and major. Both of those notes don't exist. I guess I could just preemptively give you an A flat, but then I need to specify E flat here, which is a lot of... Harp isn't chromatic. Well, it is with an asterisk. The harp... modern harps, they're not diatonic. They just have like set notes. Like you can set which notes they play, and there are pedals on modern harps that change the length of the string. Think of it like kind of like retuning a guitar. It like changes the length of the string very slightly to change a note of a specific string, or not a specific string, like a specific group of strings. So like you see all these red strings, they're like your reference points. They're all the same note, just in different registers. At least as far as I know. I'm not a harpist, but that's like my elementary understanding of this. But there are these pedals here that dictate which notes these strings play. So it is a chromatic instrument technically. In practice, it's not really. In order to change the notes, you're gonna have to raise the octaves and blues the fifths. I see. Yeah, that makes sense in looking at it. But yeah, so in order to so the harp can play those notes, but it would need to change these pedals in order to reach certain notes. So some colors represent the same notes on different octaves. Yeah. But if that note is a certain note, and you want there to be, because notice it doesn't have all, in the octave here, it doesn't have all 12 notes, right? So in order to get all those in betweens, I use the pedals to change that. Yeah. And of course, professional harpists, they can, you know, pedal very quickly and change notes on the fly, which is very awesome. But like, if you have a lot of chromatic notes, like you're not going to be able to play Flight of the Bumblebee on the harp, okay? I mean, maybe you can, but it would be very noisy hearing your feet shift around in your high heels, trying to move all the harp stuff around, so it's just not super duper practical, but this is so slow that I don't think it matters that much. What are you, G major? And your B flat? No, you're just B minor. And then you are that chord. Good luck with your career. Thanks, I'm not a composer. What's that? G sharp. Alright, that E has to be naturalized. See what I mean? Like, I know that this is kind of possible, but like when I'm writing all these things down, it's like, well, I don't know. That's a lot of pedal shifting just because of the way that I've written this. see how many times the pedal has to move because of all these chromatic notes I wrote. So I'm thinking like maybe I should replace this with a piano. It'd be much easier to reduce chromatic intervals instead of having to constantly pedal. It's probably fine. I'm sure it's fine. I'm just a little worried. This is a chill part and it gets louder later on, Julian. This is it. There's nothing else. There's just these many measures. Let me get rid of those empty ones. Again, this is a project that I wrote a while ago and then just forgot about. So I'm just revisiting it a little bit. I'm gonna write microtonal music. I'll figure it out. When I find that book on microtonal theory that I still haven't found, the books in my library they're not like super outdated, but as far as I know, they don't have any physical books on microtones, at least ones that are useful and aren't just a bunch of science research papers. So okay, I too don't know who you are or how you got in my feed. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know who you are either. We're twinning. Also, why? That's not how crescendos work. Do a crescendo. I guess you don't need to crescendo into a rest. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, try again. I don't like that. You're becoming a piano. Piano. Okay, that's so loud. I forgot that the piano by default was super loud on this, so I'm gonna turn on the volume. Quieter. Gonna need some pedaling here because this sounds kind of... I guess I can just... I'm very creative. There you go. Okay. You're not supposed to be pizzicato. You need to go back to arco. Crescendo toms would go hard. That's true. I already have the bass drum here. In fact, you guys need to probably go up a little... Not the snare drum. The snare drum is loud enough. The bass drum should probably be louder, though. Let me at least hear this. Wow, it didn't move. A family-friendly way to describe science is to FAFO. That's probably how you should approach microtonal and Zen harmonic music. I guess that's true. I feel like I have an old project here where I mess around with microtones. It's just called microtone. It's nothing special. It's not even like music. It's just some experiments. So, well, the captions here I have, it kind of explain it, but and, like, my idea was like, can you achieve functional harmony using microtones? This was just like a thought I had, probably in the shower, actually definitely in the shower. So I got to writing it as soon as I could. And of course the chord progression is very generic, so it kind of sounds generic sauce, but again, it was just me messing around. So, what is a microtone? It's a tone. You see these two notes here? Imagine a note stuck in between these two notes here. That's a microtone. How much in between? That's up to you, right? Depends on what system you use. I hate MuseScore, but it's free, so that's where I use it. That's so fair. I gotta do generic stuff first to find the interesting stuff. And that's true. Like going off into the deep end, it might work, but you know, easing into it is a bit easier. So the gap between the piano tiles, yeah, it's like imaginary numbers, but for music theory. It's Where's my Moby Dick? Okay, what was I doing? I was doing rearranging. Wow, that was terrible on my ears. Maybe you should be the clarinet in E flat, because that is a really high note. And I guess I could put it on the flute, but I kind of want that clarinety sound. But whatever. I'll be nice to the harpist because they're probably pretty, but the clarinetist, I'll be a little bit mean to the clarinetist. I feel like there's something missing there in the middle. I'm not quite sure about piano, so go in violins instead. Try those. Alright, let's make things easier in the violinist. Let's just do that. And then we can have you play this. Do like notes of piano. That bass drum is so loud. Probably for good reason too, but they're a little too loud right now. Okay, what's we doing over here? Love how the oboe sound. Oboe is a wonderful instrument. My favorite woodwind is the bassoon, but the oboe is also super awesome. This just feels like... it feels a bit too... it feels very... I don't even want to say generic, because that's not really the term I'm going for. It feels like I've heard this before, but not really in a good way. Like this kind of sound... like, it sounds fine, but like, it's just not... it's just not inspiring me. I don't know. I think it's the celesta. As much as I like the celesta, I think I gotta save it. It's a bit... it's like having dessert first and then your vegetables. Like, you gotta have it the other way around, you know? So I think it's gotta be... there's gotta be something else first. What program is it? Did you MuseScore 4? MUSESEORE 4. Just look up music notation program, you'll probably find it. I'm gonna try piano first, maybe. No, it's even worse. Like, I like how sparse it is, but maybe the celesta is a bit too full. There's like too big of a gap. There's like the super high end and then super low end. And it doesn't work in like a Stravinsky kind of way where it's supposed to be off-putting because the melody doesn't really give off that kind of feel. So I think instead, I don't really want to have like chordal accompaniment yet though. Let's try piano again, but I'll raise it by an octave. No. Can you be a bit quieter, please? Maybe there needs to be octaves here. Let's have 2 flutes on this. Okay, I kind of like that. That's a bit better to me. Can you be in clarinet? Okay. First half of the motif is the first half of a Zelda motif. Oh. Is that so? I didn't recognize that, but maybe. Quarter rest on first beat celesta. I like this. Maybe like... and clarinet only. Okay, clarinet makes me feel a little better. I like that a little more, but I'm also just biased in favor of the clarinet because I like it, so I don't know if it's just that. Start off in piccolo and clarinet, move to flute. Try that. Piccolo has a little bit of a thinner, more whistling kind of sound, so let's try that. Like, this feels kind of bad. I like the next part though with the harmony. I feel much better about this. It feels more welcoming. I think there's got to be some rest here though. It just feels a little unnatural with the constant. Don't tie these, please. Try this. Once again, 8th notes here, I want there to be rests. Okay. 2. Here. The bassoons, you hold on. Flutes, you just kind of do whatever. Okay. Our program is this one. There's MuseScore 4. It's MuseScore 4. It's MuseScore. What are you going for? I don't know. I guess I should explain the context behind this piece. This in September of 2025, I went on itch.io. Just randomly, I was bored, and I scrolled through the game jam section. And I noticed that people were hosting like music jams, like kind of like a game jam, but for music. Where not like a music jam, like a jam session, but like it's kind of similar. But anyway, like it's like you're given a prompt. You're given 2, 3, 4 weeks to do that prompt. I think this was just 1 week deadline for this one. So everyone goes out, takes a prompt, it does what they want with it music wise, then submits it, and then the people, you can view all the people's submissions at the end of the week, and then there's a new prompt given. So the prompt for the thing that I was looking at for this was like stargazing or like starlight or whatever. I wrote like these melodies, and then I forgot about it. I didn't finish it. I didn't submit this to the game jam or music jam. I just wrote out this project and then forgot about it. So, oh well. Finally composing comp. Where do you find that? I actually don't remember, but it's probably not that hard to find. There. Game jams. There. Here's where you find the game jams, is at the top here of itch.io. You could probably sort just by music jams. Yeah, or these are old ones. Upcoming. During submission. Yeah, here. There are some that are open right now. Their upcoming ones. Of course, they're not a lot compared to games. I don't really know if there's another place to find stuff like this. I just happened to find these on itch.io randomly because I was bored, so. Hello. Let me fix my posture. I'm gonna sit crisscross applesauce. Chuck the pickle out. Can't stand the higher winds. The piccolo I love very much. It's so useful. Not necessarily melodically. Not all the time. Piccolo is good for some melodies. Not all the time though. Ethereal and delicate vibes. Well, that's the thing, right? Like I think the thing was I wrote this out, like the first 8 bars here, I was like ethereal, and then all of a sudden I changed the mood, and I think since I wrote it this part and sounded more mysterious, I was like, this doesn't really fit the prompt anymore, and then I just gave up. So. Better. It feels a bit more natural. Trombones, you gotta shut up a little bit. Shush. I'm not hearing this enough. You play a tritone instead. I think that'll be easier to hear. Can you be a bit more? That's not bitey enough. There's got to be more drama. There's got to be more dynamics. Like you need to dig into the strings a little more. Like that's just too quiet. It needs to be more exciting. Try E natural if you want tritone. Is this not E natural? Oh, I guess there's the flat here. There you go. Yeah, let's just do a big crescendo here. Where's my, here, just do all of these. Cresque. And then try forte, why not? That might be a bit too loud. Yeah, I think you guys are a bit too loud. I'll let the pizzicato go up to forte. Everyone else has got to, excuse me, get up a little bit higher. And you can be forte. And you can be forte. And I also want you guys to be louder. Not forte though, because you're bass. See, that's just too loud. Can you guys be in like oboes instead? And then I can put you in forte. I think trumpet would be too loud. Okay. And then blah, 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 blah. Watch this. A crescendo. Oh, that was a very inspired horn part. Thanks me. Oh yeah, timpani. No roll, just the head. Also bass drum. Beautiful. Hello. I guess I'm here now. Why'd you have to say it so awkward, like Morty? See, it's much better with the flutes coming in like that. That's just nicer. You can be louder too. Why are these flutes so quiet? Oh, it's because I turned down their volume. You know, that would do it. on. No, 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 no. Go back. Yes, I want slurs here. There you go, nice and legato. Beautiful. Okay. Can you be... No. I kind of wanted this to be on bassoon. This E is a little high. I guess there is the English horn, which is not really a bassoon, but it's the closest that we have to getting these high notes on bassoon. This C5 on bassoon is already tricky. I could put it on oboe, but I feel like oboe is a bit too bright. Oh, whatever. Just give it a try. What am I saying? Here, don't be forte yet. What's a forte? There's gotta be more stuff happening though. Can we have like a good timpani thing going on? Okay. How long have I been composing? Like 2 years now. Jeff, boink. Oh, that's too loud. Shut up. Can you do like this, maybe? That's a bit too loud. Do tenuto instead. That makes me feel a little better. Also a bit lower, perhaps. Try E. I like E more. Okay. And then maybe have it be a bit more irregular in when you play. That would be interesting. How you play after every 1.5 beats. Yoink. I guess I can just do this. Bonk. And then have another one here. You do a crescendo, and you do a tremolo. So many O's. What about harp glisses here? I did replace the harp with the piano, which is what this is, but that's not a bad idea. Because these notes aren't being heard. I'll bring the harp back. Let's see. Harpsichord. That's the wrong kind of harp. Do a normal harp. I'm feeling pretty lazy though, so what notes are this? A? Are you ready for this? Pretty inspiring, right? I'm such a good composer. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should do the opposite movement, some contrary motion, as we call it in the business, from against the celesta. Wow, incredible writing. I can't wait to hear what this sounds like. What are you, diatonic? Can you be a bit more dramatic in your movement? I just want to hear what this sounds like. Why can't I select the measure? I need more dissonance. I can probably achieve this through diminishing some notes. Where's the harp diagram? Here it is. I would like an E flat. Boink. This is just mostly like a sound effect. I don't mean for it to be too musical. But I would also like to hear the harp when I tell it to play. You know, that would be pretty cool. Also, I'm pretty sure the celesta has a pedal, so I'm gonna make it do that. Yoink. And you. Yoink. Double harps like host. I've never written for 2 harps at once. That sounds like a nightmare, but also really cool. I know Stravinsky wrote for 3 harps in the Firebird, but you know Stravinsky just needs a big orchestra for his stuff. Where's the dynamics? Here, Kresk. Let's Kresk you. And Kresk you as well. That's so loud, shut up. See, there's no low end in that chord. And I know how to fix that. Taba. Nice and low. And also bassoon. There you go. Hey, bassoon. What chord is this? That's B flat minor. Over A minor, I believe. Yeah, so B flat minor and A minor. So let's have, where's the bassoon here? Let's have you play E. And also have you play forte. Try this. Right, and maybe also clarinets. I would like you to play F and B flat, please. Give this a try. Needs a little more high end. U. No. B flat here. F here. There needs a little more dissonance. Or not dissonance necessarily. Can you play D flat, please? Good. Maybe up high. Maybe let's play up high. That's better. Not sure if I like this closeness. Can you play B flat instead of D flat? I think I might like that a bit more. It's a bit more piercing. Like that. Okay, let's hear the wood ones alone. I'm curious what they sound like. Beautiful. You guys. And you guys. Here, the strings have got to be a bit more dispersed, I think. Let's have a fun minor second here, maybe. Maybe try this. That might be interesting. Where's all the low end? There's got to be more low end. Maybe the tuba just isn't loud enough. Or maybe, actually, I could probably just... That's right, there's believe it or not, guys. I don't know if you knew this about the orchestra, but there's this instrument called the contrabass. You might have heard of it. And you know what? You know what its job is? Oh, did you guess to be a bass instrument? You would be correct. Maybe if I used the instruments as they were intended, then then I would achieve a lot more in my compositions, wouldn't I? Can I have you be tremolo? Why aren't you... What the heck was that? Good. Maybe, I don't know if I also want you to be, it's just everyone shake their bows around. And give it a shot, why not? That's better. I think there's a bit too much emphasis on this middle range here. I want this higher range to stick out a little bit, so I'm gonna move you guys up an octave and see what I think. Try those. Okay. Okay, after a little bit of rearranging, let's listen to this again. The slowness of this is kind of ticking me off. I'm increasing your tempo. That feels better to me. A little bit less lullaby-like, but that's okay. Feels like maybe some percussion could go here, but maybe piano could have doubled that. And here's this part. I feel like the bass drum should have been louder, but that's okay. That's not quite as gritty as I would have liked it to be. Might be better on an E-flat clarinet. You're completely right. That would be nice. Okay, that's enough of that. Again, if you weren't here for me saying that, that was my warm-up piece. I'm actually going to work on my main project now. If I could... Guys, you want to look at all my... the titles of my projects? They're very creatively named. Anyway, the thing that I needed to work on this one was this part here. See how I have like notes here? Or stuff, not notes like music notes, but notes as in like do this, to do notes. This is the stuff that I gotta work on. So I believe here I just needed this part to be a little bit more gritty. So let's listen to what it sounds like first, and then we'll talk about what we need to change here. I'll play a few measures leading into it, I guess. I know all of you want to hear the bass trombone solo again, so I'll play it. There's got to be a bit more rumble happening here, I think. I don't know how I'll achieve that, but... I think these guys gotta be louder. Maybe lower toms. Okay. My immediate reaction there, my honest reaction, is that this needs lower notes. Like, instead of this E, it needs to be like the low E of the contrabass, right? Lower. Just like Drew Carey said. See that, but there's just this missing octave here. So I guess I can fix that. You ready for the shortcut? Bang. Now all those octaves. Or maybe it would have been better if I had like a power chord happening here, and then I let the violas do this. Like that, and then the violins play the harmony. Actually, I don't know. I think the existence of this B here makes it feel a bit too rooted in the E chord, which I'm not a huge fan of. So here, I think maybe it'd be better if Contrabass played that. Okay. Like I said, I want a bit more rumble here. So I'm thinking, well, tuba isn't even playing anything. It would be perfect for that. But I do have this bassoon and contrabassoon kind of playing. I think they have to play like a third or something, not like an octave like they're doing right now. I got two bassoons. Can I guess I could have the first bassoon double on a contrabassoon. That'd be interesting, but much musical inspiration. What do you mean by that? Like, who inspires me? I don't know. I like Vivaldi's music. He's my favorite composer. That's kind of interesting, but not like rumbly. Maybe this might be wacky, but let's try E and E flats. So E natural and E flat. Yeah, you hear that wonderful dissonance there. Why is the contrabassoon not that loud? What am I doing? I want that contrabassoon to be loud. Yeah, listen to that wonderful dissonance. Alright, let's try that. I want that, instead of being a high tom, please, pretty please be a lower tom. Maybe the lowest tom? I think you gotta start off a little bit louder. Make your presence a little more known. I don't know if I like this fifth movement. That feels a little awkward. See, I just don't like that movement. Inspiration behind this work. You notice, you see how this, how the project is named Moon Princess? Alright, that's all you need to know. I'm gonna move these guys down, maybe like to C. Try this instead. I like that a bit more. Okay. And I did say to try these chords on clarinets because I thought that the piano one was a bit awkward. I think the vibraphone here, I think the vibraphone at the beginning is okay, but the vibraphone after feels a little misplaced. Xylophone might be better. I think fortissimo is too loud though. Marimba would probably be better, but that would be way too many percussion instruments. I mean, it could have it anyway. Who says too many percussion instruments? The thing is, I just didn't condense the percussion into one percussion track. I decided to expand them all out, which isn't necessarily the best way to go. That's the way I chose to do it though, because of how much percussion plays, but maybe it would have been smarter if I just used generic percussionist tracks. Unfortunately. I'm not that smart. I think the xylophone is okay. Maybe a combination of instruments here. Try xylophone and horn, but like a horn, of course, lower octave. Or no, try it in. Can you please be in bass clarinet? Did I really not assign a bass clarinet yet? I feel like I would have had one already. Oh, I did, but it's all the way over here. I could have sworn I had a bass clarinet in this. Okay, xylophone and bass clarinet don't really sound that good together, but let's just do this. Don't hold that on for too long, pretty please. Okay, try this. Can you do clarinet, bass clarinet, and E-flat clarinet at the same time, pretty please, just to see what this sounds like. I think fortissimo is too loud for both of you. Maybe an octave up would be interesting. I don't like that. As much as I thought I might like it, I didn't like it. Maybe in the flute instead, and give this a try. Let's delete some of that, and let's try. You're a flute, so I'm going to raise your volume. In this middle octave, an oboe might be more easily heard. That's better, but let me make it loud. Thinking this too many parts gotta be a bit more involved instead of just this roll. Some percussion here. I would quite like there to be maybe another quiet cymbal hit here on this third beat. A bit louder now because there's a cacophony happening. I would also like a triangle part here. Triangle. Bang. Let's make you mess with piano as well, why not? I don't like that. Maybe tambourine, I would appreciate a bit more. That's my tambourine impression. Goodness, excuse me. That's not what I wanted. Could you do this kind of movement, please, instead of the whatever else you were doing? This crescendo, please, pretty please, move on to over here. I guess you don't need this because there's this crescendo. Grab that. Swing it along. There you go. Awesome. And this rest here, please move forward. I guess it makes more sense perhaps for you to start from over here. I don't think this is going to quite line up the way I want it to, but I just want to see what happens. Let's see worlds collide here. No, it sure does not. That's what I thought. That's okay. Just keep doing this. I would like this timpani pattern instead of a generic, whatchamacallit, thing. Let's have the crescendo start from a bit earlier. Yoink. That's not, no, that is a timpani. Crescendo. Please start from piano. Thank you. You do this on for a little bit until this last bit here, I think, would be interesting. No, I don't really like, I'm liking less and less that, like, that timpani happening on the, on beat. That makes more sense to me. Oh my gosh. Bonk. There you go. Fortissimo. Nice and tenuto as well. And maybe the bass drum's gotta follow suit. Instead of just being another roll here, something kind of similar might happen instead of having this. I'll think about it maybe. Tone times are a bit easier here. Where's the tam-tam? Yeah, wait. I don't know why you're not doing more stuff. You're just doing a boring roll here. Get out of here. Let's do something more interesting with you. Can you do a... Maybe like, this would be fun. If I had you here, I would like a crescendo here. I would like a forte here. I said I would like a forte here. Thank you very much. Add that wonderful triangle. I always think this kind of tam-tam movement is interesting. Maybe forte is a bit too loud at the beginning though. And then I don't know. I'm just experimenting here. I just realized this follows the same period as the timpani, which I'm not very comfortable with actually, because that's boring and lame. And so I think maybe instead we can have I don't know, the beat and a half. Very creative by me to do something very like this. That's still the same. Dang it! I can't believe it. Damn, what do I think we should do? Let's see. Trying to imagine in my mind before I write it down. This is a little tricky though. I'm kind of struggling with this one. I have like this. I could just have you wait a little bit before doing anything interesting. If I erase your mezzo forte, I have a triangle appear here. Boom. Who would have guessed? I'll have you. We'll just have some more rests in between here. Which music note is best? A flat. It's my official answer. Very creative. And I'm going to do another one here. Another one here. And don't I already have one like this? Bonk. There you go. Oh, I forgot you should probably move to forte at some point here. Maybe when the trombones get introduced, that makes sense, yeah. Now, let's hear what it sounds like with this. I don't like that. Get out of here. Ah, why did that happen? No. Do an accent here, actually. That's better. And I do have the tambourine here. I'm just not hearing it that much. No. You know what? Triple forte for you. That didn't help very much, but I'll add it anyway. If you're a tambourine, so I don't really know how you're supposed to play over that cacophony without it sounding terrible. I'll give you a shot though. Okay. Good. I feel like there's gotta be more movement in the woodwinds, like some, you know, Jupiter-like movement in the flutes would be interesting. I don't know if I'd be able to pull that. Do I still have the planet score on my computer? I should. Use a dot, and as bad as music I've used, music score scares me. It's pretty simple actually when you get to know it, but you have to really get intimate with the music first before you can understand it. Anyway, here's the planets. I just have this score on my computer. I believe it's at the end of Jupiter. Where's Jupiter? Or actually it's at the end of Jupiter, so let's skip to Saturn and then go backtrack to Jupiter. So that's page 113 for Saturn. It's not going to be exact, but that's fine. Yeah, see, this is the end of Jupiter, I believe. Is it? Yeah, there's and then there's Saturn. See how there's just there's these funny movements. I thought it was just in the woodwinds, but no, it's also in the strings of. Look at that beautiful tuplet of 10. Nearly silent compared to the music when it plays. Oh, am I that quiet? I guess I could turn up. I already turned down my desktop audio by 4 whole dibs. I guess I could move it down by more or increase the volume of my microphone. But why would I want to do that? You guys want to watch me change this in real time? There's no plugin being applied here. I think there's a gain one. Let me add some gain to my microphone. Let's add 4 whole dibs. Decibels of gain. How is that for size? A lot of funny playing around instruments. It truly is. Look at the way these instruments move. Are these the harps? Yep. It's just that's their entire thing. I kind of want to try this here. I want to give it a shot. I'm not entirely sure how Hulse did it. It looks like you guys are just moving around in 6. You guys are moving around in thirds. Okay. Also, what? Hold on a second. What is this? What? I've never seen this key signature written like this. What? Why is the F up here and not down here? I've never ever seen the... Oh my... I've never seen that with all of these flats. First I was like, why is there a discrepancy between the harp key signature and the string key signature? I'm like, what? Is the harp just built different? Like, are these enharmonic? I'm not good enough at key signatures to find out. I know... Because the harp isn't... I don't think it's a transposing instrument like the trumpet is. Like, I understand, like, these guys are kind of different, but... Like, why... I've never seen that. Usually at least the way I was taught, the F goes down here, not up here. Probably the best option since the stream was much more silent compared to usual YouTube videos. Isn't YouTube supposed to fix that for me? I thought they normalized my volume. Okay. Maybe I'm just not... Maybe I need to bring the microphone closer to my face. Would you guys enjoy this instead? I want to get that sweet, sweet proximity effect on my voice. Okay. Right. We found out through that we can move instruments around and have it sound fun. Why is it not playing? Thank you. Why is it not stopping? What? The spacebar isn't working. What? Why is the spacebar not working? Reset, rescore. Never mind. Alt F4 didn't work to close it, but is my keyboard just not working on here? Nope, N doesn't work. Does my keyboard work elsewhere? It sure does. Right, this stupid program. Why won't you work? There you go. Not only get normalized for videos. Darn it. It's up to interpretation, but that looks quite odd. I see you guys like my Bliss wallpaper. I said it before the stream. Anyway, does my keyboard work now? Yes, it sure does. Okay, great. What are we doing here? Let's try that weird cookie cutter technique. It might be called planing, but my teacher used to call it cookie cutter. So that's what I'm gonna do. And in fact, I kind of want those 10 note tuples. A tenuplet. Oh, you're not as cool as I thought you would be because you split it up like this. No, wait, don't do it like that. Do it here. Actually, that might be a really bad idea. Maybe it'd make more sense if I did this. But I kind of want... I just like the number 10 in my music. So I'm going to add that instead. Uh... 10 to 3? What would that even look like? Oh, you want to know? There you go. I don't know how this is going to work, so I'm just going to start from C and see what happens. I also forgot how Hulse did it. I guess I can just pull up the score again. I thought I closed it. How did he move? In thirds? That's exactly what I was going to do. Do you play an instrument? I play the harmonica. Maybe I should just do what Holston and have the stringies do this. Here, let's be a bit more. Let's be a bit closer to this. Are you a normal flute? Yeah, you are. Okay, and like the genius and composer I am, you guys are gonna move up by a sixth. That's a whole octave. Can you just start on A, I guess, since I'm lazy? Dang, the piccolo doesn't want to play that. Piccolo, can you play this? And I guess you'll play in sixth. A, D, I feel like this isn't quite what we want, but let's give it a try anyway. I'm curious what it sounds like. Again, this is just kind of like a musical sound effect. It's not necessarily supposed to have any melodic stuff happening. Oh, that sounds awful. Probably because it's the piccolo playing so darn high. If it played a little lower, it might be better. Let's move you guys down an octave, because I'm curious what you sound like this. Like this. Combined with the dissonance. I can't hear it because of their flutes. Piccolo I can hear, but you can always hear the piccolo. The piccolo is never in any trouble of not being heard. Try again. Can you just like repeat this? Because I'm curious what it sounds like if I just repeat it. Try this. And you know what? Just keep going until the end, and then I'll just have some crescendos for you. Let's do this. Beautiful. I don't like that dot. Can you just do this? Thank you. Or like that. The other kind of dot. Staccato. Let's have a crest here. And a forte. Okay. Try again. I don't think that has added a whole lot. Probably because it's not loud enough. So let's change that. Okay, you were actually just not loud enough. But I know what instrument is loud enough. The clarinet. That note might be a bit too high for clarinet. Okay, I know the E-flat clarinet is kind of a difficult instrument to play. But I'm gonna give it these weird arpeggios anyway. I also know that the clarinet doesn't like changing octaves all that much because of its construction. I'm going to choose to ignore that for now. Oh wait, I forgot the E-flat clarinet has a solo. I probably shouldn't have gotten rid of that. Never mind, it's the B-flat clarinet, I'm a liar. But still, that didn't quite work out the way that I wanted it to. maybe... That's not... I don't quite like that either. That's a whole 2-octave gap. Here, can I ask that y'all play a bit more accented on the beginning of these tuples? You, some tenuto. Beautiful. Okay, try this instead. And also accent here. Try again. Why are there no accents here? Probably because I didn't write them in yet. Can you have oboe and clarinet and E flat do a thing together, please? But also you shut up because you're the clarinet and E flat. I like that less than I thought I would. I'm not gonna lie. Can you do oboe and xylophone combination, please? I'm curious as to what this would sound like. Maybe an octave higher? It sounds a bit better than I thought it would sound. I thought it would sound much worse. Can we have 2 oboes play this, please? Can I have 1 oboe lead into the other, please? So start off with the second oboe, I guess. Move to the first oboe. Try this. It would add the fufa. Thank you. I feel like there's gotta be horns here helping out to punctuate these notes. E, D sharp, G, E, A. I'll try this. I don't think there was C in this chord. There's E and G. Not that it matters super duper much, but I just wanna try. You guys, forte, start up mezzo forte, go up. Maybe you guys do need to go up to fortissimo. Anyway, let's try again here. I will move you guys back here and put P here. P is for pull. The horn's gotta be louder. Try again. I think the horns have got to be a bit more spread out. That's like my instinct. So of A. I guess you'd be on this next one here. D sharp G. Like this. I like that more. Let's copy these. Whoopsies. I'm sorry, with the piano sketch you used pants until this point. No, I wrote it for orchestra. I didn't have a piano. I can't do piano sketches. It's just not in me to do those. Maybe because I didn't like learn by doing that, but I never did those. Start at mezzo piano, please. The horns definitely help there. I also think the tuba needs to help out as well. Can we have that wonderful low E? Maybe start off high, low, go low, have forte. The tuba is loud enough at forte. At least I hope it is. I would also like you to hold on just a little bit longer, please. Just a tiny bit, not 200% much, still 150%. So just a tiny bit longer. A little longer. I need like that big orchestral noise to kind of die away. But I don't want to hold on to that note for too long. I don't like the choasta. Go away. Okay, I'll worry about you later. Okay, try again back here. Can you guys play a third? You're B. Can you play D? And you can play D flat. Start again here. Can you play the low B? Try those. Better. Try, start off at F sharp. Start off at B natural. Better. Half step down. And then no, I don't like that xylophone part. The horns are too high. I'm changing that. A, E, A, A. No, no, no. Oh my gosh. U, D sharp, U, G. So kind of what we had before, but lower. I don't know even. Those might even be the same darn notes. Whatever. That's okay. Guys, play. Where's double F? Here's mana points. I know I said I wanted it to be a bit more open, but I didn't like that, so I'm changing my mind. That's better. Right, and I think I wanted the xylophone here to have more movement than just this. This is stupid. Just do the E. Move up another step, perhaps. That doesn't sound quite right. Maybe another whole step. Okay. And can you kind of riff on this pattern? I just want to hear what it sounds like combined with the cacophony. Okay, well, if I could hear it, it would help. I think it's too fast, but I think we're kind of on the right track. Maybe instead of like those rapid fire fifths, maybe we should stick to good old straight 16ths. I like that more. And then oh, you're the glockenspiel, it's the incorrect instrument. I would like to give this a shot, and then I guess we'll just see what I think. I have a crescendo here. Maybe an octave up would be better. A bit better for the xylophone, I think. For Fortissimo. Yeah, I like that a lot more. Okay, I guess we'll see how I feel about it next time, but after I take a break from this and come back to it, and we'll see what I think, because orchestration tends to change after a little break. Weird how that is. Okay, like I said, I think the bass drum needs to have more movement. How do I want this to be done? I would like to have some like weird rhythms going on just to kind of add to the cacophony feel. So maybe like an oddly timed bass drum hit. No, well, not odd, like oddly timed, but like, you know, kind of offbeat, nothing too crazy, but nothing that's like strictly in time, just to make it feel a little bit more lopsided, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. Let's have some crust here. Not sizz. I'm not hearing that bass drum. Where's the bass drum? I guess it's not really outshining the timpani. That's a bit better, I think. Start again from the beginning. Go. I think the vibraphone here is okay. I like that. No, I changed my mind. I think it's got to be more roll based, more roly poly. Oh my gosh, the music card, please just let me select the note. Okay. Bass drum is basically an untuned timpani anyway, really similar tone. A very bold take, but one that I'll accept because I like bold takes. Maybe not accent, that's not enough. think you gotta line up with the tam. That makes more sense in my head. If you lined up with the tammy. Let's have a you here. And a you here. And you here. But like a maybe no. Better. I feel like you've got to be a bit more loosey goosey. So more like this. Okay. Oh wait, you weren't active up, I remember. Okay. And taiko would be more similar to an untuned timpani. Oh yeah, get that film score sounding music up. Taiko all the way. That's right, I need a crescendo. Add that crescent in. Yoink. Better. That was a bit too loud. A bit quieter, please. I don't like that English horn. Go to clarinet. I don't know. Try something. You go in bassoon. You go in bassoon. That's not as loud as I would like it to be. I don't know how, because these are like the loudest instruments of the orchestra, but maybe it's just the playback. It's probably the playback. I feel like that should be like exceptionally loud. You got bass clarinets, you got tuba, you got trombones, and contrabasses. I guess contrabass isn't loud at all, actually. Okay. Anything else I think I might want to change? Let's go back here. I did change this to oboe instead of flute. I almost feel like it should like trade with the clarinet. Where's the clarinet? Here, your first clarinet. Can you do something like... ah, crap. You also pesante. Ignore that piano head for a sec. Why don't you decrescendo properly, you big dumbbell? Suspended symbol here, I think, very quietly, but I think it should exist here. No, tambourine would be better. Viola with clarinet. I don't really want the strings there. I think it would kind of make it feel a bit too rich. It needs to be a bit more mysterious. I think the viola, and especially the violin and clarinet, has a very sweet sound, which is good, but not what I'm going for. And sweetness is not always what we want. Maybe don't hit that. This might be kind of strange, but can you be pizzicato, please? You lower strings. I know it's pizzicato, staccato, shush. You guys louder. closer. Can you try Coligno instead? Just curious. I kind of like Coligno more, but not by that much. Just curious, what happens if I make all of you Coligno? I didn't delete that one. Okay, try all the Colignos. Okay, well, it's lost all of its harmony, but that's interesting. That's okay. Who even needs harmony? That's fine. I think the pizzicato's it's okay. Piz. Maybe you can stay Arco though, but I want at least one of you to be Pits. You'd be a dynamic level ahead. And I just realized you're all staccato half notes, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Pizzazz. It's like Ethan once said, piss ass ass. Maybe instead of xylophone, you should be on glockenspiel. Ever solo with bass clarinet, also want more double bass solos. My bass boys are being discriminated over the higher pitched fellows. Bass clarinet gets solos in The Rite of Spring, I know that. As for the contrabass, it would be much more hard pressed to find a contrabass solo. I've written one before. I've written a solo for contrabass. Not in this one though, that was in an older one. That's the only... I've seen some contrabass concerto, but I need to find a tuba duet. That reminds me actually, I think there's a tuba and euphonium ensemble playing near me soon that I'm gonna go check out if I have time. I don't know how many tubas or how many euphoniums there are, but I'm hoping it's at least an octet. Because that would be incredible to hear 8 tubas at once. Maybe it's even more than that. Maybe they have like 10,000 tubas. That would be awesome. Okay. I'm feeling too sleepy to write a new cellist part. So I'm gonna wake myself up with my own music. Go. Okay, that part I wrote before to be a bit more mellow and less dramatic. I don't like that. I wanted it to be more pizzicato based instead of staccato based. I'm not quite sure about that harmony there. I might have preferred it without the... That's okay. This though, I think I'm more dubious about. I don't like these thirds. I would rather you just play straight. You just play straighter. Be straight. Like this. that again? Something there is really bothering me. Something about something bothering me. I think it's the piano. I think it's the piano that's bothering me, so I'm gonna shut it up. That's better. Let's have the piano just kind of play what you're doing. Where's the tambourine? Get over here. Or replace it with a snare drum. No, I still want the tambourine. This used to be arco instead of pizzicato, and I'm not even, now that I hear it again, I'm not sure if I prefer that. Have you be arco. So I have you pizzicato, you arco. I guess I could have a combination. If I have you like this, you like this. Hold on, this is really bothering me. You say arco, you say arco. See, this arco part is where it used to be. See, I wrote, this is just me really not liking what I wrote last time. I don't like this. I don't like it. I'm reverting it back to the way it was. I liked it when I wrote it, but I don't like it anymore. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna make this minor 5. Like that. And I preferred you guys all playing arco together. And not pizzicato. And since you guys are doing that, I don't think I want you to play this high note here. Let me unpiz you. Piz the nerf. There you go. Get rid of that. These stupid arcos. There's so many arcos. And not like the trig function. Oh wait, yeah, you have to beat staccato. My bad. Maybe it's gotta be more like this viola part, or it's more down low. I don't want it to like grow. Also, that was the wrong thing I just copied. feels like it's missing. It's you guys. You're like muddying up the sound of it. The tuba especially. I think the trombones are okay though. Hold on. I don't like that very much. It feels like it's going way too low. Hello. And then let's move you back too. And then the way I did this was F, C, B flat, E flat, and then D is fine. Not sure how this would sound, but I'm just curious. Okay, well, it'd be better if I could hear it. It's so quiet. Let me have some crescendo here and some F. Let's not play on that last beat, please, my dears. No, why did you... There you go. You obeyed me and then you disobeyed me. Okay. I don't know about that. Like, I both like it and don't like it, which probably means that the next time I hear this, I'm gonna not like it. Again from the beginning. Let's just have you copy the cello. You see here, it's like there's this I think this is okay. This part at least. It doesn't offend me, but I'm not super happy about it. And I think here, I'm not really sure about this. That feels a little awkward to me. A little pudgy. feels like there's got to be more movement in the stringies, like more eighth notes or something, you know? So I shall make it happen. Start on the second beat, so I think the violins have a little bit of time to catch up. They're not going to play anything super fancy though, because I'm really lazy, so they're just going to play these notes, because I'm a good composer, and that's what good composers do. They write good music, right? Perfect. Now you're gonna move down, and you're gonna move down, and you're gonna move up. You guys have the same progression, so I'm going to be very creative and just steal it for myself. Bonk. I'm going to make a U arco though. Maybe you too. That is unnecessary. So is this. We're right here, arco. Technically ordinary, very different. There's something missing here. Bass drum. No, it was probably tom-tom. It was tom-tom, but not that much tom. That's too much tom-tom. You might say that you can never have too much tom-tom, but... should probably start off as forte and then move to fortissimo like your cousins. That would be better. Yoink. There you go. Try again. Wait. No. Try again. Okay, that's a bit more like what I want. Elbow's good here. Trading with the clarinets. Bass trombone. True cello, let's go. Might try that on vibraphone instead. Hold on a second. You're supposed to be Arco. That's better. I don't like the oboes playing that there. Maybe clarinet and E flat. But like quiet, shut up. I don't really want it to be quite a flute. I think the clarinet and E flat is a little bit more in your face. Okay. Because this will lead into the next part, which I haven't done yet, but that's what that will do. Okay. This intro isn't really sitting with me right, but I think maybe it's because it's missing the trombones that it had before. Let's try that again. There you go. Nice lovely trombone. That's better. I don't know why there are two fortes here. That seems unnecessary. No, you start it. You definitely need to start it. Mezzo forte. That's a little annoying. I don't like how loud those strings are. You, my friend, go to fortissimo. You know what, tambourine, you can be even louder. Why not? Okay. I guess that's all there is to do for now. Okay. Not much to write in of me new music today, just moving some instruments around and having a discussion about it, but that's okay. I have a lot of time to do this, so that'll be all for me today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to join the Discord server so you can, I don't know, be in it. Subscribe, I guess. I'll see you all later.